And as I turn to the new, my old ways just fade out of view. No, I don't know where I'm headed, but at least I'm making tracks on a one-lane highway with no way to get back. No, I don't know where I'm headed, there's no exit to be found, but at least I'm headed someplace, even if I can't turn around.
Welcome back to 10 Day Tunes. This time we're looking at a song called No Limits. The lyrics for this song came up very much from my morning pages, which I've mentioned before. If you haven't seen the videos where I've talked about them, morning pages is an idea where you write 3 pages by hand of whatever's in your brain when you happen to wake up in the morning, and it can be really boring stuff or bigger things, more creative things, whatever. The idea is about getting more in touch with your creativity and what you're thinking about, and opening the door to creative flow. I've just been listening to a podcast with Julia Cameron. I can never say her name. Julia Cameron, who invented morning pages. I'd really advise, even if you don't want to do the whole Artist's Way program, I've never done it, the morning pages is a great start to just sort of opening the door to your creativity, whatever creativity that is. Anyway, advert for Julia Cameron over. I've been doing the morning pages semi-regularly for about a year. Probably do it 5 days a week. Some days I just am not in the mood, or I've got to be somewhere and I'm not very good at getting up in the mornings, so adding another thing to do before I make my porridge isn't always the best idea. But I use the phrase "at least" every day. At least I've done this, at least I've done that. And I've found it odd that that phrase kept coming up. It's sort of a reassurance that you're heading in the right direction. With this song, it was very much about, where am I going? What am I doing? Was this 10 Day Tunes project going to work? What was I trying to achieve with it? And it's another song about writing. I'm writing about writing. A rather circular idea there. Fairly early on, the metaphor of driving and travelling and all of that stuff popped up. So the sort of working title I had was Road Song, the very inspiring title, Road Song. And eventually I was like, I hate that. You can't call a song Road Song. There were several incarnations of various bits of this, the main bit being what I call the break or the change. So if we think about song structure, most people will know what a verse is. It's a part of the song that tells a bit of the story and sets the tone, I suppose, of what the song is about. And then a chorus is usually repeated, often with the same lyrics again, and that's the bit that people usually sing along to. If you're lucky, people sing along to the whole song. And then the break is usually a part that it is different musically. It's not the same framework. It doesn't fit in exactly the same framework as the verse or the chorus. Often the verse and the chorus are quite related musically, but the break or a change or a middle 8, because it traditionally is 8 bars long. It's not always 8 bars long. It can be as many bars as you want it to be. Musically goes in a different direction. So it takes us away from the story or the feeling, and then it brings us back. And in this song, the early versions of the lyrics, I was talking about going back to where I came from, and then I was like, well, the whole point in the verse and the chorus is that I'm not going back. This is a one-way highway, one-way street. I can't go back. Keep saying I can't go back. And so it was really bugging me. And then eventually, as I was getting to grips with the final vocal, it sort of fell out of the ether. And I really like that. It's interesting. I think I'm rather a control freak. Anyone who knows me well will know that I like to plan and have a list. I'm a list person. So I think that comes out of deep-seated anxiety, which maybe is something to work on. But in terms of writing, that's not always my friend. It doesn't always help to have a plan for everything. So I quite like that I'm learning slowly to think on the fly and add things in at the last minute. It's a bit like cooking, you know. You sort of think, oh, this could do with a bit more salt or a bit more pepper or chili or whatever. So there's some chili and pepper arriving at the last minute with some of these songs. You'll definitely be hearing this song again, not because I'm going to do another version of it, but because I'm fairly sure that I've nicked one of my own choruses from another song that I haven't finished yet. And that often happens. I remember reading Neil Diamond talking about that early on, that sometimes you recycle bits of your own work, and it frustrates me slightly. I found this song tricky because I wrote a verse and I wrote a chorus, and it didn't really feel like they were in the same universe. And in the end, I think they are. There's a change between the feel of the verse and the chorus. The verses I feel are a bit John Granty. You could certainly give it a John Granty synth treatment, and that would be quite fun. But then with the choruses, we've gone into a more country kind of, or country vibe. I'm sure if anybody actually knows much country music, they'll probably think, God, what is he on about? As we start looking at this file, the green part there where it says intro is a bit longer than the actual intro, because it used to go around twice. And a bit like the lyrics and some of the harmonies, I fiddled about with this song in the final mix, really at the last minute, and cut a few bars here and there, gave it a bit of gardening, tree trimming.
I slam hard on the brakes. Gotta know no limits if I want.
And again, I added those lyrics in quite late, which is why I chose the name quite late in the process. You can see here that I originally had backing vocals for this chorus, and I thought I just wanted to establish the sound of the chorus, and doing the backing vocals actually helped me get a sense of the arrangement and building things in, so don't always have the same thing happening every time. Excuse the sing on this bit, it's really flat. As I'm doing these, I'm noticing that there's certain sounds singing that are kind of quite hard to always get on the note, so to speak. This is my favourite bit of the song coming up. The intro, the second intro. Given the time, I would add even more backing vocals there. And I can hear a little sax there. I put the line that I can hear into the bass because I don't play the sax, not yet. I'd quite like to learn the saxophone. I'm not sure it's an overnight process. So we didn't have these BVs in the first bridge, but it's sort of hopefully making things lift. Talking about parts of songs, we don't know what the bridge is. It's a literal bridge between the verse and the chorus. Don't always have a bridge. It's kind of, some of these are old-fashioned terms for elements of music and composition that come more from blues and R&B, rock and roll, song structure. That's even flatter that time round. So here we go, we're into the change.
And as I turn to the new, my old ways just fade out of view.
I'm quite pleased with this. One of my other staples, drop chorus. She loves a drop chorus. And a bit of a hand clap. It just means when you come back in with the whole arrangement, tutti, it feels bigger. And with this song, I really have never liked songs fading out. They do it more in pop music, sort of proper pop, but I think it's gone a bit out of fashion. It used to be that most songs faded out on albums, and particularly as I've gone on to write more stuff, and put them together as albums or whatever, I hate fade out. So I thought with this song, how does it end? You know, the idea is that I'm driving off into the distance, into the future, maybe into the sunset, who knows? But I don't know, it sort of is the opposite. It should just fade away, really, but I quite wanted something to end and end in a way that was slightly unexpected as well. So it does end slightly unexpectedly. Maybe I just ran out of ideas. Thank you for supporting my work so far. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the music you've been listening to and my ramblings, then please tell your friends about the project. Get them to sign up. If you've got any thoughts or comments or suggestions, please leave them on Patreon. And I hope to see you again in another 10 days for more 10 Day Tunes.
10 Day Tunes.